When as you get older, you start thinking about the people that have helped you along the way, and you were a really important part of my business for a really long time. And I'm sure I was like, maybe still am, but I'm sure I was the worst client you've ever had in the history of clients.
Remember, you and I, we built a software and it failed miserably. You were naive, you were annoying.
It's Kasim with the Daily Google News, and I'm here with one of my favorite people in the whole world, who's actually, I think, part of the reason that my business was kept alive for as long as it was in its early stages. My friend Shamim Rajani, COO of Genetech Solutions. Shamim, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Kasim.
Yeah, I'm excited to chat with you today. So you know all the worst things about me. I think of all the people on the planet, we started working together. I'm pretty sure I was 19 or 20 years old. I just started KPO Global was the name of the company back then, and I had no idea what I was doing. And I was a horrible liar. Like, people would ask me like, "Oh, can you build, a rocket ship to the moon?" And I'd say, "Yes, of course. I've built 7." And then I'd come to you and I'd say, "Shamim, we have to build a rocket ship to the moon. Like, please make this happen." And I'm sure I was like, maybe still am, but I'm sure I was the worst client you've ever had in the history of clients.
No, I wouldn't say that. You were naive, you were annoying, but I
Yeah.
don't think you're the worst one. I've seen more.
Yeah. Well, I learned so much from you because I went through quite a few vendors, but you were one of the few people who managed expectations really well. Said this is what we can do and this is what we can't do. And I really appreciated that. And then the other thing that I really appreciate you for, and I don't know that I've ever thanked you enough for this, is when things went wrong, you never jumped ship. And generally speaking, they went wrong because I did something stupid. I would overpromise, or we'd make too many changes, or I wouldn't push back on the customer. I would misunderstand something, or I'd screw up a scope. But no matter what, like, you were always there to bail me out. And when as you get older, you start thinking about the people that have helped you along the way, and you were a really important part of my business for a really long time. You were my only vendor for years.
Yeah.
And
10
everything
years.
I did, I would just send over, just lob over the fence.
Yeah, I think it was 10 years. And I think this trait of never jumping ship is one of the things that actually made us so strong today, that, we have customers and friends like yourself and more. So we've converted a lot of customers into people who actually, go out and speak for us. And that's passive marketing in itself. I think that's the best form of marketing, right? So for the longest time, we have, because won the trust of people like you, we have not had, we've just totally worked off, you people going out and talking on our behalf, and we've not had a marketing team of our own, never. I mean, this year we're doing that. After, crossing 100 people team, now we're thinking, okay, I think we should get serious about this and have a marketing team.
That's so funny. Congratulations on crossing 100 people, by the way. That's a really big deal.
Thank you so much. We now also have 3 locations in 2 countries, and we're having a 4th location in a 3rd country that we signed off a couple of weeks ago.
So we are now in Pakistan,
US. So we're in Detroit, and then we're doing Portugal. We just signed off Portugal. So we're going to be in, yeah.
That's so funny. My wife and I we're doing the Portuguese Golden Visa, so we're going to be going to Portugal for the summers.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there in November. So I'm usually there for the Web Summit. And I was supposed to be there, in the next couple of weeks to sign off the contract, but then we signed it off virtually because I have to head out to the US and then to Canada for Collision Canada, because we're also exhibiting there.
Yeah. And so one of the things, if you'll share a link to where it is you're exhibiting, I'll include it in the description of this video. So if anybody's watching it, if you're in Canada, where in Canada is it? Toronto?
So it's Toronto,
Okay.
but we don't have, so it's Collision Canada, but we don't have the exact booth number right now, but I can share it later. I don't have it right now, but this is the, hold on, chat. So this is the website, but we're right in front of, center stage. We don't have the actual booth number right now.
Okay. Collision Canada. You can go to collisionconf.com. I'll include that in the description of the video too. And if you're in Toronto, go say hi to my friend Shamim. And so, for anybody watching or listening, because we convert this to a podcast too, your shop, you're a pretty big shop. You do high-end software development. And that was our genesis together. And we worked for banks, multinational organizations, healthcare organizations. I don't know how I got those projects, by the way. I have no idea, like, who in their right mind would trust me with any of that. But you were my vendor
You
for
do
that.
know that I'm still working with a lot of those, right?
Say again?
So you do know that I'm still working with a lot of your customers, right?
Are you?
Even
Good. I'm glad.
even the
So.
ones that you were annoyed with and you were like, I don't want to work with these guys. You want them? Take them.
Yeah.
I'm doing very well with them.
I'm glad. That's probably all that needed to happen, is I just needed to get out of the way.
No.
I'm glad to hear
So
that that's
let's
going
put the
well.
link to our website. I am sure you have it, but just put it in there. Anyways.
Yeah, so the website is genetechsolutions.com. And aside from the software development, you also do websites, user experience, user design, and you provide dedicated teams, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, so we do software development for so business applications. If you want an end-to-end solution to your business, something that you have had in mind for a very long time, and now you're looking to automate it, we can sit with you, define the business rules, solution it for you, build it for you, and then also manage it for you. So we have companies that we've been working in year out, where they just came to us a decade ago with a problem set, just like you. And then, over the years, we've worked with them and built solutions for them. So that's the software side. It can be a web-based solution. It can be a mobile-based solution, a CRM, a customized CRM, a customized ERP, or, an LMS, if they're looking for a learning management system. Or we can work with the open sources out there. We can integrate, we can also customize open source solutions like Moodle, Magento. You want to work with Shopify, WordPress, all sorts of software-based, SaaS applications out there. We work with those, and we can also build the user experience around it. We have an amazing that does amazing work, and then if you're looking for dedicated teams as well. So if you have, you know exactly what you want, to add a couple of headcounts in terms of developers or designers to your team, we can also provide those to you.
And for the dedicated teams, you house them, I don't want to say manage them, but like make sure they're showing up, clock them in, clock them out, that type of thing.
Absolutely. So we look after all the administrative and HR, jobs around it. So, making sure that they work from office, that they come on time, that they take local leaves, that the insurance is covered, everything else is covered locally, and the customer pays us and we pay them.
That's awesome. Going to the software, everybody I know in business has an idea for a software application or has a need for it. But everybody I know who's ever tried, it fails their first time at a minimum, and sometimes it's 2 or 3 iterations. If you were to protect somebody from themselves and say, before somebody talks to you, before they even get to the point of trying to hire a vendor, what are the things that they should have in place? What should they have thought through? What should they bring to the table? How do they make sure they put their right foot forward?
Remember you and I, we built a software and it failed miserably. Remember?
Yeah, Change Illustrator. I do remember that.
I want to go back to that as an example because I learned a lot from that.
Yeah, it was a great idea, wasn't it? Like it was
a great idea. It was a great idea, but I think later on when we became more mature as a company, because that was like 10 years ago, right? So when we also learned and we became more mature as a company, one of the things that we learned and that worked out really, really so well for us were 2 things. One was that if somebody comes to you with an idea and tells you this is what I want to get built, don't look for, don't just buy, let them give you, oh, this is the site I want to clone. This is the feature I want to clone. Don't ever get into that. Okay. What you do is you sit with them and you tell them, okay, even before we give you an estimate for the project, let's build a business requirement document around it. Let's see exactly what you want. It's called a product requirement document or a business requirement document. So we sit down with them for 2 weeks. We talk to them in the first meeting, we talk to them on a high level of what they're looking for, right? And then we dig deeper into, and we'd sort of like poke them to talk about difficult questions in terms of business rules. Do you want this? Do you want that? Do you think this is going to work out? And then we also sort of like give them our suggestions on how what has worked out for our other customers in this industry. So, and then we help them build those business rules actually. Then we help them build the user types, because every time somebody comes to you and says, oh, there's 3 users, admin, front-end user, and that's it. And then maybe one more, that's it. But when you sit down with them, you will learn, and they will learn that there's actually 8 different types of users. So you find those user roles with them. All this is on paper, right? And then you define user stories with them. So user stories means their journey. So if, a type of user is going to use your application, what all will he or she see when they enter the application till the time they leave the application, make the purchase, or if it's an e-commerce website, or at least do what the application is supposed to do. From the time that they enter the website till the time that they leave the website, what will that user go through? That's their journey. So those are called user stories. So basically build user stories. And then we wireframe it still on paper. We wireframe it for them, and then maybe we use, balsamic or something, and then we wireframe it in that for them and show it to them. Once they review it, and during this time, we do 3 to 4 meetings with them. This is like a 2 to 3 weeks exercise. And we jot everything down for them. Once they review it, they're happy with everything. We basically dry running the whole application on paper with them, right? So they're happy with everything. And they say, okay, this is exactly what we want. We go on and we, match it with the technology actually that should be used for this application type, for this user base, for the kind of, the kind of load that they're going to be having on the server, the kind of traffic that they're having on the server. So we do the technology stacks, and then we give them an estimate for the application phase-wise. So, so this is what, now based on this product requirement document, this is what the application looks like. And this is what we're going to build. And it's going to be released phase-wise. So the first phase is usually in 3 months, because nobody wants to wait more than 3 months. So the first phase, with the most important features is in 3 months, and then the next phase in the next 3 months. So that's one thing that worked very well. The other thing that worked really well for us was Scrum. So we moved from Waterfall to Scrum, which means that the customer is on board throughout the journey. The customer is the product owner, and we are the development team, and we have a Scrum Master on the team. So what happens is, once we size the project and the customer says, okay, this is what I want, we break the project down into smaller tickets and make a complete sprint backlog, complete product backlog out of it. And then we decide to do sprints every 2 weeks, sprint meetings every 2 weeks. And then from that product backlog, we say, okay, this is the first few items for the sprint that we're going to pick up, and we're going to show the customer in 2 weeks. So we build that, we show it to the customer. The customer, talks about change request. He wants a couple of changes done. So every 2 weeks, the customer is there looking at the product, how it's getting built. And if there's any red flags, he or she is going to raise them right in the beginning, or in some way, not towards the end when everything's done and like, this is not what I wanted. And I was like, this is what I thought you wanted, right? So I think that when we started to implement Scrum, and when we started to do product requirement documents, that set the expectations much better on both ends. Plus, it was very time saving. Plus, the team understood the project much better. And we made sure that in each sprint review meeting with the customer, the whole team was sitting, not just the project manager. So that a whole team means not just the development team, the designer, the QA, the front-end developer, everybody, so that they all know what customer is talking about. So they all know they're part of the job and what they need to change.
And they can protect each other too, because what one person hears isn't always what the other person hears. And so it's nice to be able to triangulate around a message.
For that, for internally, what the team does in a Scrum is that they do daily stand-up meetings, 15 minutes, to ask these questions of each other. What did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? So what went wrong? What went right? And what are you up to next? So these are 3 questions that each of them answers. and then they move on. So just a 15-minute stand up. So that way also they keep a check on each other on who's doing what and who's delivering, because at the end of the 2 weeks, everybody needs to finish that sprint, those sprint items as a team. So if anybody is lagging behind, you'll probably find out the next day when they're doing
That's a gold nugget right there. What went wrong? What went right? What are you doing next?
Yeah.
I really love that. I love the idea of the daily sprints too. So I think, you've offered something of a mini course here on how to get started with software development. Build it on paper first, which is huge. And people, I imagine, could probably do a napkin plan themselves before they go to a development house, so they're a little bit more prepared. Scrum, not Waterfall. I don't know what Waterfall is. Is that worth going into?
Waterfall is when you know a project scope, you build it, and then you show it to for a layman. Waterfall is what we did in Change Illustrator. We understood the scope, we built it, and then we showed it, and you said, no, this is not what I want. So that's what happens when the customer's expectations are not met, or we have not understood the expectations correctly, or they don't align. So Waterfall does work. It's not like Waterfall doesn't work. Waterfall doesn't work for the kind of applications that we build right now. Waterfall works for other kinds of applications, more towards other industries, but not for tech so much anymore. Agile is something that has taken the market with the boom. And my best bet was when I actually learned and became a Scrum Master a few years ago, is that when I realized that this is like a gold mine, and it's so much easier, and it's so much transparent. It saves me so much on time and on embarrassment at the end of the day, when I build something and the customer says, this is not what I want.
Yeah, you have a very stressful job in the development space. I was in it long enough to know that you're just always, like when my phone rang, anytime my phone rang, I was like, oh, like I got a knot in my stomach, because it was somebody who had a problem or there was something going wrong. How do you deal with that? Like, how do you navigate that?
This is not a glitch. I'm interrupting the video you're watching because I want to remind you that we provide done-for-you Google Ads services. We're the #1 ranked Google Ads agency on the planet with almost $100 million in ad spend under management. If you're an entrepreneur, business owner, C-level exec, director of marketing, and you're managing your own Google Ads, I think that's a massively inefficient use of your time. As a matter of fact, in my experience, within 90 days, we're able to optimize existing campaigns to a point to where we're paying for ourselves. We move from being a cost center to a profit center, and I want to put my time and my money where my mouth is. If you're spending $10,000 a month or more in Google Ads, I want to offer you a free, no obligation action plan. A high-level member of my team, one of our strategists, will look at your account, open the hood, and do a full diagnostic and explain everything that we would recommend that you change in order to optimize your campaigns. You can take that, do it yourself, you can hand it to an internal member of your team, or in an ideal world, you can hire us. I'd love the opportunity to earn your business. Please go to sol8.com. That's SOL, the number 8.com. Request your free action plan. Until then, back to your regularly scheduled program.
So initially it was tough, but now that I think I'm much more stress-free now over the years, when I have a very, very strong and professional team. So we've divided. But the stress is always there. That's part of the play. It's there, but
it's kind of fun. It's a fun type of stress.
Kind of fun,
it's the stress of a game.
Yeah, it keeps you on your feet. But when you have a good team, and when you have so many years of experience under your belt, and then you learn from these experiences, and you add that, the phone ringing has sort of like died out now. I don't use Skype anymore. We don't, because it doesn't ring anymore.
Right.
Been like 15 years, so it doesn't ring anymore. So
that's right. Yeah, you've built a process around having to deal with those things. How do you think AI is going to impact what you do? Is it going to make it better, easier, harder? How much of what are you worried about it? Is there anything that gets replaced?
Right now, we're not worried about it, but what we've done is we've built a research R&D department at Genetech, which is called GetLab. And what we are researching on is on different AI tools, including ChatGPT. Worried maybe because it's sort of like a hype. Like when blockchain came, that was a hype. This is a hype, so people think AI is the solution to everything. But it's not, because when we started using chat, when people said, oh, it basically generates code, we said, okay, let's look at it. And if it generates code, I don't want to keep a team of 100 developers. I can bring it down to 50.
Right.
Why? Right? Because but the code, when we started using it and we started looking at it at GitLab, we realized very quickly in a couple of days that this is not where we want the code to end up. However, the newer version of ChatGPT, what it does is validation is good. So for example, I'll give you an example, a technical example. When we build a database structure, and we have 3 pairs of eyes validating that structure. So when we build, because database structures are very, very important to product development, because that's the baseline of how the data is going to be placed in your database and how relationships are built. It's very technical. It's very important to nail it right the first time. So when somebody builds it, even in our company, we have subject matter experts that they go to who will look at that with a and scrutinize that. So what ChatGPT does for now that we've seen, or maybe a couple of other AI tools out there, is that we can use that to actually validate those data structures. There'd be another set of eyes for us. So we can use that as an add-on, but not, I don't think as a replacement. I don't think, and even if AI gets mature to that level, I think projects and products will get more complex, and people's expectations of projects and products will get more complex.
Right.
And then you will have to have a better team who uses AI tool in a much better way.
Yeah,
So
it accelerates the process, it improves the output, but you're still going to need somebody to do that. Because
expectations will go higher, because now that there's AI, you definitely want to have a much more stronger, better product, something that was not possible yesterday. They might want it to be possible tomorrow, because they'd say that let's just use AI for that.
Right.
So I'm not scared. I'm just excited. It's good. It's excitement. But but me and you, we both need to make sure that we keep up with it, to make sure that we don't get left behind in the race.
So I'm excited too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that in 2017, when I started doing blockchain, I was really excited. So I don't know if you remember, I came to San Francisco. I did a course in blockchain, and I went home and I started training my team on blockchain. And then, but it sort of like it. But by the time there was a crash in 2018 or 2017, end of 2018 or something, and they did not pick up for a couple of years. We lost. So it sort of like fizzled out for us. And then, it came back maybe last year and then fizzled out. So NFTs are a huge thing. NFTs is like crazy right now, but not right now, like a couple of months ago, till like a couple of months ago. But then we had actually passed on from that excitement. It had fizzled out for us. And we were like, okay, we like what we do. And, so we're good at it. Let's focus on what we are doing, and let's not detract. So AI, we've already been doing it. But the new tools out there, they're very exciting. So we want to look at them, we want to incorporate them, but we're not scared, just excited.
That's great. I'm excited about AI too. I've never been more optimistic about humanity. I believe very strongly AI is going to replace me. What I do as a media buyer is so much more myopic in scope than software development. You have to do custom, like literally create something from nothing. I live inside of somebody else's engine with very defined rules, very defined boundaries. And so it's pretty easy to see how on a long enough timeline, AI is definitely going to take my job. So I've got to start. I might come apply at Genetech. I'll see if you have any room for me in the mailroom. You might, I'm going to transition on you a little bit. You've got or I don't know if you still have it. I'm sure you do, but you have I don't know if it's a nonprofit, but I know it's an altruistic endeavor. It's CodeGirls, right? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah, CodeGirls. So CodeGirls is a passion project. I call it a passion project, where we started off in 2018, and we are primarily focusing on girls, training girls in technology. So basically training them and then trying to place them in software houses throughout Pakistan, but also internationally. So we've been able to do a couple of more than a couple. I think around 10 or 12 international placements as well. And within Pakistan, around 300 placements of these girls. So these are girls from low middle backgrounds who primarily did maybe nothing before this, had just finished their high school and either got married or just, maybe teaching in a school and getting, so in Pakistan, teaching in a school or being a nurse or, an accountant or a beautician doesn't pay a lot. It's just pennies. So, and tech for me was the highest paying industry, has been so far that I have seen. And then women in Pakistan are conservative, so it's very, sometimes it's difficult for them to also travel long distance to go to jobs. So I thought that, tech might be an answer to all of this, where they can be trained and everybody can be trained. You don't have to have computer science background to learn technology. So we decided that we train these girls in technology so that they can start to earn better, whether they want to go on a job or they want to work from home if they have kids. And even if they just want to learn because they want to teach their children, that's fine. But what happened is, and that's how we started in 2019 with the intention to train 100 girls in technology. And so far, I think we have taught 1,000 girls. And we have 60% conversion ratio where these girls are getting jobs in the industry. And CodeGirls has now become a talk of the town. Very happy. And because of CodeGirls, I had the opportunity to work on the national level with the ministry, with a couple of software, with one of the biggest software associations of Pakistan, to build tracks around technology to teach the youth on the same similar to what we've done at CodeGirls. So the idea of CodeGirls was for the industry, by the industry. So we wanted to make sure that the industry comes and teaches them so that they teach them what the industry wants. So with that same slogan, I worked with the Ministry of IT as well to basically bring a similar program in Pakistan, which is Alhamdulillah, which is going well now. And we have around 4,000 people training under that program right now. There's an MVP going on. So yeah.
That's so cool. That's really exciting. Good for you.
Something that really changed me as a person as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, and it actually is my stress release when I'm like, very stressed. And I look at that and I'm like, wow, this is something that happened because I have a very, very good team. But I think we've done something really good.
Yeah, it sounds like you've made a really significant impact. How could somebody support CodeGirls if they wanted to?
So there's so each girl's training is like 3 to 4 months of training each phase, and it's a very minimal amount of $150 that these girls can't pay. So we have funders who pay for this training. So we're looking for people who want to donate to the cause, and the website is codegirls.pro. I'm going to put it here in the this is it. And then you can go in there and you can donate $150 for one girl's training. If you want to do a whole batch of 10 girls, that's $1,500. You can also sponsor for their laptops, because we also give out laptops at the end of the program to successful participants, so that they have infrastructure at home so that they can work and earn. So you can also do that. So yeah, and then we also have partners globally. So we have partners, so we don't call them partners, we call them friends of CodeGirls. And what they do is either they fund the project, or they give these girls jobs, or they help with the training. Either one of them, right? So so we've been lucky to have international partners as well as local partners, and that's the number is over 100 right now of partners.
That's so cool. So if you want to support a CodeGirl, go to codegirls.pro, and for $150, you can basically hand somebody a career, right? I mean, am I overstating that?
No, absolutely not, because we have the first phase is for somebody who has never coded, and in that first phase of 4 months, we teach them HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. And then if they're really good, at the end of it, they can actually start a job. And a lot of the girls have. Some of them I have hired as well for Genetech. And you may have worked with them. You wouldn't even know that they were not coming from a tech background initially. And then they can also choose to do, once they've done phase 1, they can also choose to do a more specific phase, say like WordPress, PHP, content writing, software quality assurance, Flutter. And then definitely once they do that, they're very, very good for. So after 6 to 8 months of doing 2 phases, absolutely ready for the market. But a lot of those girls can also get into the market after the first phase, which is a very basic phase. But if they're good and if they've done it right, they're able to get jobs. So yeah.
That's really cool. Shamim, if somebody wants to work with you, what's the easiest way to reach out?
You can reach out to me on my LinkedIn, which is I can the whole LinkedIn, I'm gonna have to paste it. But on the website, there is a contact us form. You can reach out to me through the contact us form. You can also ping me on LinkedIn. I'm very, very active on LinkedIn. So I'm not so good on Twitter or other social media platforms. I don't know why. I'm just very good at LinkedIn. So you can ping me on LinkedIn. You can get in touch. You can set up a time with me. I also have a Calendly link where you can set up a time with me if you have something that you want to talk to me about and discuss something. But the best way is drop me an email would also be nice. So this is my Calendly and my email address. I'm sure you can put it out there. So either one. This is all good.
Awesome. I'm going to include your LinkedIn in the description of the video. I don't know that I want to post your email because I want to make sure people are being respectful of your time. But if you're interested in software development, websites, UI, UX, dedicated teams, or helping CodeGirls, reach out to Shamim. You can go to genetechsolutions.com. All the information is going to be in the description of this video or the show notes. And Shamim, last words to you. Any parting wisdom for our listeners?
No, I think parting wisdom would be generally that if you really want to get something built, a website or an app, just don't go. You have to do some homework before you want to do that. One of the things that we've done on our blog is we have been able to do some really good writing for our customers when doing our blogs, not based on technical blogs, but for our customers to understand, for example, the whole Scrum life cycle, for them to understand why they should do, why should you build a product requirement document in the first place? Why would you want to do WordPress versus, Wix versus something else? Why Shopify versus, Magento versus OsCommerce? So these are things that we put out there, and we would really, parting words would be for them to understand what it's about themselves. They can come to me. If they come to somebody like me, I'd probably, tell them because that's my marketing strategy, to build that trust. That's what I do, right? But people have different marketing strategies. People might not tell them because they'd be like, because I'm looking for a long-term customer. My customer retention is an average of 5 years. Even if they leave, they come back after a year and say, yeah. So we never leave because we're not happy with each other. We leave because, okay, right now it didn't work out. Maybe it'll work out after a year or 3 months or 6 months or 2 years. So I've always, like I said, a lot of the customers that you send my way, I still work with them. You wouldn't even know about it.
That's so funny. Good for you. Well, this has been awesome, Shamim. I really appreciate you. If you're watching, I've known Shamim for longer than she'll let me say. We talked about it at the beginning of the video. Can't recommend you more highly. And yeah, I appreciate you being such a long-time friend and strong referral partner. I'm grateful for you.
Thank you so much for having me. I was really excited when you asked me to do this. It's been a while. I've never been on your podcast. I mean, we've known each other for 2 decades. Let me say it.
Yeah, the truth is out there. Awesome. I shoot a video every day. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Gather round, everyone. 'Tis case study time. I was going through a list of our highest performing e-commerce clients, and this is anecdotal, but 4 out of 5 of them have dog ugly websites. And hopefully they never watch this video. But they're actually really bad.